So Nova, we didn't really have time to record a special intro this week with everything going on, but Nova does want to say something. She's very excited. Say hello, Nova. She's very excited to announce who is going to be her voice actor in an upcoming animated Nova movie. And well, who's it going to be? Can you point to him? She's not all that happy about her choice, I think. Let's get into the news.
Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, and welcome to the 57th edition of This Week in Hearthstone weekly news recap series, where we take a look at the news and events in the Hearthstone world in the past week. And well, we have a couple of stories to cover. First being, was there another major cheating incident this weekend? There was a lot of controversy over a certain player getting kicked out of a tournament. We'll talk about that and the fallout from it, as well as there was an interview with Alec Dawson, one of the lead card designers, over United Assortment on the Vicious Syndicate podcast. We'll take a look at what he had to say and my takes on it, as well as we'll go over the Grandmaster results from this week and the mailbag segment where I answer your questions. So first top story, was there another cheating scandal? We've covered some cheating stuff in Hearthstone before, including our first ever Zeddy doc series, and don't think this would qualify, but it's kind of out there. So Fujitora HS tweeted this out this weekend, or this week, saying a Masters Tour admin without any report decides to turn on this my stream and disqualify me from an open cup because allegedly I'm getting help from Twitch chat. I've been streaming open cups for 2 years and never have my opponents reported for such things. This is a personal attack. This was like a heated tweet. He says you can read the thing here. There's a paste bin with the whole transcription of everything going on. Many people have been streaming their open cups and nothing happens. But today this admin decided to have some fun and lurk in Twitch and disqualify me. I asked for proof, but he can't provide anything. P.S. My chat is in Turkish. So what happened is, if you aren't aware, with the Masters Tour events, there are online qualifiers. And with online qualifiers, they have certain rules. And one of the rules is that if you are streaming a qualifier, you are encouraged to run a delay, or if not, tell your chat not to give you any advice. And this Fujitora was apparently streaming without a delay, and according to this admin, his chat was giving him advice. Whether Fujitora was reading it or not, that doesn't really matter. If someone says, you have lethal, that's typically considered advice. And you can go through the whole paste bin, the whole transcription if you want. I'll link it below. But basically, the admin was a little bit probably too presumptuous, or a little too casual in his approach to this player, going like high with like 7 eyes. And basically the back and forth went on that he had opened up the streamer's chat, had seen, or I guess he was able to understand Turkish, that they had basically given advice. And it doesn't matter, like I said, if he acted upon it, read it, or anything, it's considered breaking the rules, and he was therefore disqualified. Fujitora has brought up that he's a top player. He's streamed this countless times. This is, never happened before. His opponent said they just wanted to play out the next game. He didn't even care. He didn't want to disqualify them, but ultimately the admin decided he was disqualified, and that was that. And of course this went on to Twitter, and there was a lot of heated back and forth between a lot of different people saying this is, ridiculous, this is harassment, they should let him play. And some people like, he broke the rules, that's what it is. And my take on it is, he broke the rules. They're stated that you're not supposed to stream with chat interaction. I believe a couple of years ago, Navi Oot, a pretty prominent pro player, got disqualified for the exact same reason, just because he was streaming and someone in chat said something and admin happened to see it, even though he probably didn't even act on it. It doesn't matter. The problem here isn't so much the ruling. The problem is the rule. It's kind of ridiculous to discourage people from streaming these open cups when it's like people co-op and talk on Discord while they're playing these things off stream all the time. It's so much easier to cheat off stream. Hell, you're streaming without a delay. Your opponent can just watch you and steal your hand. It'd just be nice if they would change the rule that you could basically stream these. It's already hard enough to stream standard ladder these days. Believe me, that these rules are a little bit silly and just hurt the growth of the game, which is already dying a horrible death in the pro scene. So I don't think Fujitora is in the right to really go after this admin for this. maybe he could have been a little bit more professional in the way he approached it, but overall, he broke the rules. They are the rules. He got disqualified. I just think they should change the rules. The rules are a little bit silly, and that's kind of my take on it, but it was kind of an ugly and unfortunate incident this week. Next, we have the interview with Alec Dawson on Vicious Syndicate. They talked about all sorts of stuff, whether it was the meta itself, some balance things, all these things. But what I wanted to talk about was basically confirming what a lot of us felt. A lot of us felt like this meta that we have now, with the quest lines being pretty dominant, with, you know, control changing, not really being what it traditionally is or basically in the game, that it felt like it was intended, like this was a calculated effort. And I'll go over one of the answers here from Alec Dawson that kind of solidifies that. So he was asked, Questlines had a polarizing reaction. Some people love them, some people hate them. What are your thoughts on what we've done anything different in retrospective? He said they really enjoy Questlines because they're single card build arounds. It means they can also open up some of the expansion design space to create other archetypes that need multiple new cards for support, like Shadow Priest, Hand Buff Paladin, or Rat Hunter. They feel like most of the negative feedback surrounds the inevitability of the quest lines can bring, specifically Warlock, Mage, and Shaman. They've slowed down via recent balance patches. So Warlock and Shaman got their quest nerfed, and support cards and Mage got a Cantor's Flow nerfed. The meta that ended up shaping around Stormwind was very close to what they were envisioning. So this, again, kind of confirms that this is what they were hoping for. And they knew the meta was going to be very different from Barons. Brings up that some of the early nerfs were ready to consider from pre-launch. Examples were like Il'gynoth and Cantor's Flow. But they wanted to let things play out before making adjustments and kind of go on therefore. Kind of interesting, they talk about how Void Touch Attendant was originally a 1-2 and then a 1-3, and I kind of wish it was a 1-2. So it's like they had it more balanced to begin with, but now Priest is awful. So it kind of made sense. He was also asked, one of the biggest talking points from people criticizing the current meta is that control is dead. How do you feel about that discussion? How does the dev team balance feedback from the player base, especially after people criticize control Priest so heavily in the Barons meta? Alec answers, control is not dead in their eyes, but it's not in play as much as it could be. They want controlled style decks to have win conditions that aren't just infinite removal. Alec also hints at them setting up towards new control style decks in their future. They want it to where if you're playing a quest line, you generally have the advantage against a control style deck, but they also want to make it where control decks can alter their deck list to fight more efficiently against those types of decks. They like cards like Troublemaker and Rattlegore being these haymakers you drop on later turns to pressure on your opponent's control style deck. So basically what they're saying is they want control to be something that hasn't always been, where control has big threat. You control the board and then you win with big value threats like a Rattlegore, like a Troublemaker. And I mean, that's actually historically been true for control decks. Look at old control where you had like Grommash and Alexstrasza. Hell, you even had like Dr. Boom hero card, which would kill your opponent, create threats and all that. That's kind of traditionally where we're at, but right now control just those type of bombs aren't good enough to really compete with the game. And I feel like these takes are fine. I just feel like they need to be executed probably a little bit better. I think we're still a ways from this happening, and if what he's hinting at, I guess we're going to see more tools given to control or these type of strategies to fight quest decks in the mini set, the next expansion. So I thought it was an interesting insight. And again, if you want to listen to this podcast, and there's also a transcription of it on Reddit, I will post the Reddit transcription as well as the podcast link in the description below if you guys want to check that out. Next, we have the Grandmaster results from this week number 6, and the NA top 4 consisted of Monsanto, Rami, Frozen, and No Hands Gamer, with the winner of this week being Frozen, defeating Rami in the finals. Rami is nearing relegation, so really important for him to perform well, but didn't quite get the win. But congrats to Frozen for taking home week number 6 NA Championship. Over on EU, we saw Final 4 of Yarla, Casey, Letta, and Gabby, and of course, the young prodigy, unbelievable kid, Gabby, won this week. He's already guaranteed through playoffs, but yep, wins anyways, get some sweet cash, and congrats to Gabby yet again for winning. And over on the APAC region, we saw Final 4 of Alutemu, Give Please, Lambie series, and Alan, with Alutemu taking home the championship this week. So congratulations to all the winners. There's 2 weeks left in Grandmasters, so relegations and playoffs will be decided pretty soon. And lastly, we have the mailbag segment where I answer your questions. Again, if you want to ask me a question, leave a comment in the comments below with mailbag in the comments. So first, Terry Williams asked me, What is your favorite card of all time? I'm sure yours is Mindrender, Lucia pre-nerf. How dare you? Insert sarcasm here. Mine is Frostledge Jaina. For the longest time, it was Emperor Thorson because it's the ultimate combo card, and now they power crept the card. It was safe for such a long time, but I'm gonna go with OG Emperor still. I still love Emperor. I love what he can enable and how like Mark with Drakarian Emperor still has like the most combos ever. And I will stick with Emperor. I just think it's a sweet card. Honorable mention would probably be to like original Malagos, which another awesome combo card. Tyler Wachowski asks, do you think once the YouTube contract is up, moving back to Twitch will bring back more viewers? In conjunction, if they increase the prize pools, would people be more inclined to seek Grandmasters? Love the channel. If they move back to Twitch, yes, that would bring up viewership. If they up the prize pool, yes, that would incentivize players because the sacrifice of their time would be more worth it. Are these things that are going to happen? I don't know. I'm skeptical. I really hope they happen. But these two things I think are vital to happen if a Hearthstone esports wants to succeed in the future, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. But yes, I think both of these things would help a lot. And a lot of pro players have outright said they've quit because literally it's not worth it anymore financially. It just doesn't make sense, even if they make some money off of it, because it's just the money's not there. And Nathan Clark asks, what deck archetype would you enjoy having as tier 1? I personally like tier 1 being difficult to play and didn't mind Patron Warrior. I'd love to see like a highest skill cap deck be tier 1, but Blizzard doesn't like that because they want to appeal to casuals a lot more. And I think when like a mid-range-ish flavorful deck being tier 1 is a good thing. I feel like when mid-range is tier 1, that's probably the healthiest state for the game, not when it's just aggro, not when it's a really slow, grindy control deck. That happy medium, literally like that middle ground, I think is really good. But it's nice when you have a sprinkle of everything. The dream is to have mid-range control and aggro all be tier 1, but if you could have only one of those archetypes be tier 1, I think mid-range is probably the best bet for everyone because most people can enjoy a mid-range deck. Emilio Ano asks, there were no questions for Nova on this video. What a shame. I don't want to disappoint Nova, so here is my question. Nova, what about a Cat's Feline Hearthstone based expansion? What would you name it? Nova, what would you name the expansion? What would you name it? You heard her. I think she would name it The Wrath of the Nova King. Anyway, that's this week in Hearthstone. Hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. Have a great day. And like Nova, stay salty, my friends. I'll stop torturing you. We'll see you guys later.